You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
On today's Friday Review, I'm going to be talking with you about what to drink when you get tired of water. So I know you've been told in the past that really the only healthy thing for you that you should be drinking is water. Now, there's a lot of truth to that, but there's also so many more options that can also be as good for you, as equally good for you, or maybe even a little bit better. So I want to share those with you today because there's a lot of sentiment that I get where people are just like, what else can I be drinking except just drinking all this water that you're recommending? Because, of course, we want to flush our bodies. Our bodies are predominantly 2/3 water. Our blood's 90% water. Our muscles are about 70% water. We know that the majority of our body is water, and that if we start to get dehydrated even by about 2 or 3%, we can actually start to lose energy. We can start to get a little bit moody, a little bit depressed, a little bit anxious. And those are actually all natural signs of us becoming dehydrated, of our bodies becoming imbalanced. So I'm not discounting or downplaying the role of water and how much water you do actually need. Now, I've spoken about this before, so just give a quick overview. Just the general recommendation is about half your body weight in ounces of water per day. So take your body weight in pounds. If you weigh 160 pounds and you take half of that, that's 80 pounds. Now, if you convert that over to ounces, that's now 80 ounces. Okay, so 80 ounces, and if we divide by 8, which is the number of ounces in a glass, we get 10 glasses of water per day. So that's just a general recommendation. I'm going to make a couple more specific recommendations, of course, but that means for your average person about 160 pounds, average lifestyle, they should be getting about 10 glasses of water per day. That's about 5 water bottles, 5 of those 16-ounce water bottles or so. That's a great amount, but I'm going to be sharing with you why you don't always have to get it just through water. And also, if you sweat a lot, you might want to get more. If you're someone who's low on minerals, you might actually want to get less, but we'll talk about all of that on today's show. So let's get right into it now. Okay, so as we're thinking about water and hydration, what I want us to think about is this, is that fluid in our body is basically like a river or a stream. It's our ability to stay hydrated to allow for the transportation then of minerals, of proteins, amino acids, of vitamins, of enzymes, all those different things that we need throughout our body. And without water, we can't actually have the same charge, the same electrical charge to our body. So this is going to give you a little bit of insight into why I make certain recommendations, because a lot of times we're given all these options for water filters. And again, a water filter is very important if you're talking about, drinking tap water, which contains chlorine, which wipes out a lot of the good bacteria in your gut, and it contains fluoride, which is actually a poison, and it hurts your thyroid and actually causes a lot of people a lot of thyroid-based harm, amongst other things. And I've done whole shows on that. So you can just type in fluoride at stephencabral.com/podcasts, or you can type in chlorine. You can type in shower filter. You can type in water filter. You'll see all my different recommendations for those. So I'm not going to go through that today. What I'm going to talk about today is after you get tired of drinking so much water, what are your other options? Well, I want to give you some insight into what I do personally and what my family does, and also what I'm recommending privately in my concierge practice as well. So the first thing that I recommend is when you're waking up in the morning, you want to drink water, yes. And the reason is that your body has literally been dehydrating overnight for the past 8 hours or 10 hours, depending on when the last time you drank water is, okay? So let's just go back from, let's say you stopped drinking water at 8 o'clock at night, and now it's 7 in the morning or so. Now, a lot of people wake up, they don't drink water. They right away get into coffee. That's the worst thing you can do, because coffee is not going to adequately hydrate your body like the recommendations that I'm about to give. So the first thing I recommend is just drinking some room temperature water. You can sip on warm water if you'd like, with a little bit of lemon in it, a little bit of cut up cucumber in that if you'd like, or you can do what I do, which is my daily fruit and vegetable blend, which is just greens. It's 22 organic fruits and vegetables, 1 or 2 grams of actual sugar coming naturally from the vegetables, So really negligible, nothing at all. And I squeeze lemon in that, and I'll put a pinch of sea salt in as well. So not only am I getting the water, but I'm getting right away minerals into my body, which is actually going to allow me to better utilize water. So do keep in mind, there's going to be a theme throughout today's show. And the theme is that if you give water a charge, if you actually add more minerals to it, you're going to actually be better hydrated. Now, you don't have to use the greens. Like you can use any greens that you prefer. We use ours because obviously it's easier in the digestive system. There's no inulin. There's no added grasses. It's gluten-free, all of those things. But you don't have to do that. You can actually just wake up and do some lemon water. So just squeeze some water and lemon. Like that's a great way to get started with your day. It's acidic in the mouth and acidic in the stomach. So it helps to just kind of remove any bacteria. And then it starts to move into the intestines and then absorbed into the body where it becomes more alkaline. And that's simply because it has very high levels of minerals such as potassium. So really, really great way. That's been used for hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, to really cleanse the system and help to cleanse the liver. And that's been known for literally thousands of years in Ayurvedic medicine as well. That's really easy. I'm a huge fan of that, and that's what I do. But I always add a pinch of sea salt. So I'm someone that could use a little bit more sodium, who runs a little bit maybe lower blood pressure, and that helps give me a little bit of a boost, a little bit more electrolytes. After that, about an hour later, of course, I'm recommending my smoothie. Now, again, you don't have to follow this exactly, but listen kind of to what I'm saying because I'm going to talk about other ways in which you can get water. So why would a smoothie further hydrate your body? Well, one, you're getting the vitamins and minerals from the fruit, right? And you're getting it. I also put spinach in mine. I put some greens in it, so I'm getting that as well. Now, think about this though. Most fruit contains about 80 to 90% water. So if I'm adding in, let's just say pineapple, or I'm adding in blueberries, a lot of that is all water. Not only am I getting water that I add to my shake, which is about 16 ounces or so, sometimes 20, and then I'm adding in 2 cups of berries, I'm getting in a lot of the water from that fruit. So that's hydrating as well. Now, when people ask all the time, this is a very common question, does a smoothie count as your water? It does actually. It does. It's very, very natural, meaning that the berries or fruit in general soaks up the water through the ground, through the tree or the plant, whatever it might be, and into that berry itself or into that fruit itself. That's now holding the water. If you've ever gone to my Instagram account, which is just instagram.com/Stephen Cabral, you see that I post a lot of posts, obviously, on nutrition. But one of them that comes up quite often is how you can get a lot of your water from fruit, and you can get it from vegetables as well. I'll be talking about the vegetables in just a moment. So that's a very, very easy way. So if I'm getting, let's just say 2 cups of water in my smoothie, and then I add in 2 cups of berry, well, I'm basically getting in another 2 cups of water, another 2 cups of hydration. What I do is I actually front load my day with about 4 to 6 glasses of water. So I do about a glass or so of water when I wake up with my greens, my lemon, my pinch of sea salt, or my lime and a pinch of sea salt. Then I do my smoothie, which is equivalent to about 4 cups of water. That's a lot of water. Now I'm drinking that though over the course of about 60 to 90 minutes. I'm drinking about half right away, and then I'm saving half my smoothie for about an hour later, and I'm sipping on that for the next half hour to an hour or so. That's just giving me constant energy. Now, if I make a little fresh oatmeal, a little gluten-free oatmeal with that as well, I'm adding water to that oats, and I'm getting some water with that oatmeal. Now, is that as hydrating? No, but I'm still getting a nice liquid before lunch breakfast, very easy on the digestive system, especially if I add a few more berries on top of that, such as raspberries, which are one of my favorites. Now, what else could you do? If you're someone that likes to fast, or if you're someone that likes to do bone broth, you could certainly do a little bone broth to start your breakfast as well, or you could do bone broth mid-morning. Now, the bone broth is actually going to be quite hydrating for your body as well. Now, why would that be? Well, the bone broth contains a lot of minerals. And when you get all of those minerals, again, with that water, you're better able to utilize and soak up that water now into your cells. So you can actually get more hydrated that way. So again, if you're someone that likes bone broth, you can put in your celery, put in your carrots that way. Even if you just wanted to strain those out afterwards, you get the minerals from the celery and carrots as well. Really, really good way to do it. Now, during the day, I will oftentimes cut up cucumbers and mint, cucumbers and strawberry, and just put them in water. Now, I don't crush them up or anything, but the minerals and the actual living fruit and vegetables themselves will help to infuse all of that water with a little bit more life, a little bit more enzymes, a little bit more minerals and vitamins that I keep going back to. But also, again, one of my fallbacks is simply lime with a little bit of sea salt, just a pinch of sea salt. How much? You basically do it to taste. Some people need a lot of salt because their bodies are desperate for more sodium. And I know we've kind of vilified salt in the past, but the truth is that most of us, a lot of us, could use a little bit more sodium as long as it's balanced with our potassium as well. Okay, so that's essentially taking us up towards lunch. One thing I like to do with lunch is have a hot cup or warm cup of ginger tea. Now, why ginger tea with lunch? The reason is this, is that ginger tea is caffeine-free. It's an herbal tea, but ginger is world renowned for its ability to help with digestion. It helps with nausea. It helps with anything digestive-based. It's an amazing tea. It's very good for cleansing the kidneys, which I've spoken about in the past. Really, really great product. It's anti-cancer, so can't recommend that enough, but mainly because of digestion. So you don't drink a lot of water or a lot of fluid with your meals. That's a definite no, because it really dilutes your digestive fluids, which is the hydrochloric acid, the pepsin, the enzymes. So you don't want to drink a lot of water. Just sipping water or hot tea during your meal is much easier for digestion. Now, about an hour and a half after lunch, if you want a little something sweet or a little something with some flavor, some of my favorites, especially during the summertime, are hibiscus tea. That's definitely one of my favorites. I remember, this is going back a long time ago now, maybe 12 years ago. I was in Mexico. I got quite sick to my stomach, and I was way outside of the resort that I was at. And I was actually on kind of one of these excursions where you kind of go exploring. You're in some of the deep cenotes. You're in the underground caverns. And I was just sick to my stomach. And so I went and we were eating with this really nice family, and they made us some authentic food. And I just let them know, like, oh, my stomach's killing me right now. Do you have anything that can help? And they brought me out some fresh hibiscus tea. This hibiscus tea, which is essentially just the flower infused with water, I literally must have drank a liter of that. It felt so phenomenal on my stomach and truly helped my digestive system. And now I just love hibiscus tea because I love the taste of it. I typically drink hibiscus tea cooled or at least room temperature. That's one of my favorites. But I also love passion flower. Passion flower tea, again, I drink that cooled. That's really, really nice as well. One of my favorites. Some people do well with chamomile, kind of really relaxing. They do that before bed as well. Chamomile, not that great for people with allergies or ragweed-based issues or hay fever because it's in that same family, but a lot of people do great with that. Those are all caffeine-free teas. Those can be really nice as well. Okay, so now as we're moving to mid-afternoon, I'm not an advocate of caffeine in the afternoon. I'm really not, because I run so many adrenal-based labs that when I look at people's cortisol levels, they can start to spike mid-afternoon. They can spike in the evening. That disturbs sleep. It causes insomnia, causes people to wake up throughout the middle of the night. It causes blood sugar crashes, causes anxiety. Not ideal. But one thing, if you're used to drinking coffee mid-afternoon, kind of one way to hack that, to wean yourself off of it. And I've done a whole podcast. Just type in wean off caffeine or wean off, and it should pop up. I tell you exactly my 3-week protocol for weaning off caffeine completely if you choose to, or just cutting back to one small cup of coffee in the morning. But I've talked about this before. I've done a Friday review on it. It's by a company called Four Sigmatic. They do something called mushroom coffee mix. Now, it's actually only 30 to 40 milligrams of caffeine, which means it's just about the same amount of caffeine as a green tea. But you can do green tea as well. That would be fine. But this is mixed with lion's mane and chaga, and it gives your brain and body a little bit of a boost. I actually think it's quite nice. Every once in a while, I'll do a cup of that myself. It's literally an organic instant coffee. Again, only 30 to 40 milligrams. Mixed with lion's mane mushroom, which is, again, a immortality mushroom, a phenomenal one, mixed with chaga, which is great for endurance, stamina, getting more blood flow, oxygenation to the body. So that's a fun little product. I get nothing for promoting them. It's a good product. A lot of people really like it. And it's an easier, healthier way maybe to wean yourself off of that high caffeinated dosage. And again, it will be less dehydrating the less caffeine you're taking into your body because it does not have as much diuretic-based effects. Okay, so one other thing I just want to call to your attention as well is that yesterday I did a podcast on the best pre and post-workout nutrition. So I definitely recommend tuning into that because if you're doing a mid-afternoon workout or an evening workout or before workout, tune into that show. That was episode 650. So just go to stevencabral.com/650. Check out that show. That tells you exactly what to eat and drink peri, during your workout, and post-workout as well. So now, one of the last recommendations I can give you, and that I do myself, and also I'm out to dinner during the week too, whether it's a meeting or I'm out with friends or I'm out with my wife, is that I go out and if I'm choosing not to drink alcohol, which is the majority of the time, I'm having a Pellegrino, so a natural spring water with a lot of minerals in it. Now, it could be another spring water as well, but it's carbonated. I'll tell you why in just a moment. And that I do a splash. Now, it's a splash. It's not a half a cup, but it's a splash of cranberry and a couple squeezed limes in it. And I do that because it's a very refreshing drink. I don't do it all the time. I only do it when I'm out. And it's like a little treat for myself. So instead of me going out and having a margarita or having a glass of red wine or something like that I would like to do, and that I do sometimes, that this is a little treat for myself as well. And it kind of is like, it's very refreshing. It's very enjoyable. And also if I'm walking around at a party or a social gathering or some type of an event, I look like I'm drinking an actual drink too. So people aren't saying like, oh, how come you're not drinking or whatever it might be, right? And I've mentioned this before in the Cabral concept many times. It just cuts out those conversations and I don't mind having them. And people are used to me just kind of me doing my own thing as well anyways. And they kind of like to know like, oh, what are you doing? And why aren't you drinking tonight? Whatever it might be. And again, these really aren't big deals at all. Like to me, I like to share that. I like to let other people know like it's okay to go out, have a great time and not always have to be drinking alcohol, which can really start to do a number on your system, start to wear and tear on the system. And if you're someone with sleep issues, if you're someone with hormonal imbalances, if you're someone with skin issues, if you're someone with detoxification issues, immune-based issues, alcohol is not your friend. No matter what anybody tells you, not even in moderation, all the alcohol you put in your body has to be detoxified. And that means your body is shifting gears from its own natural detoxification to being able to break down this poison, which is called ethanol. Now, is it enjoyable for some people, myself included, to go out and have a couple drinks with friends? Yes, I'm not denying that. I live in the real world as well. However, we want to start to cut down on that if we really want to live the healthiest life that we can. But again, you also want to still be able to have a good time and not drink alcohol. I think that's an important part too of just being you, comfortable in your own skin, going out with other people. But having said all that, without going on too much of a tangent, is that I will do that if I go out to dinner, a nice enjoyable drink. But if I'm just at home, maybe at night, I'll have a glass of Pellegrino, not all my drink during the day, because it has that little carbonation. So it's a little different. I'm not used to having that. I'll do my squeezes of lime in that. And that to me is a very refreshing drink that I might have with my dinner at night. My wife does the same exact thing. She enjoys that as well. And then it just allows us to kind of like, oh, this is our nice little drink. We're having it at dinner. And it's very soothing. It actually feels good on my digestive system as well when I'm drinking that, whether it's with lemon or lime too. Now, those are just a couple examples. And I'm not doing those all day long, meaning those are just examples that I'm giving you right now. I might do, one other thing that I didn't mention that I might do is during mid-afternoon, I might also do a green juice. So my green juices do not contain any fruit. It might be some celery and cucumber and kale and lemon and ginger. Like that's one that I might get quite often. And that's a very, very tasty juice. Another one, which you've heard me talk about before, one of my favorites is carrot juice, lemon, and ginger. I love that. Sometimes I'll add beet to things. Now, all of that, that's basically pure water. Please do keep in mind that when you see a juice settle, when it's been out for a couple hours, you can see that the bottom is only like an inch or two high. The rest of that 16-ounce bottle is just water. What we're really talking about when we're juicing these vegetables, again, you're not juicing your fruit because that's too high glycemic. But when you juice your vegetables, you're getting all of those living minerals. And if you drink it within a half hour, you're getting the enzymes as well. But what's happening is you're getting all of the water from those vegetables. Now, if you juice kale, if you juice spinach, they're great to juice, but they're not high in water content. So you're not going to get as much water from them. But that's one of my favorite things to do. Now, if you're following one of my plans and you're doing some berries mid-afternoon, that's great too. Remember, those berries or fruit mid-afternoon is also going to contain a lot of water in those as well. So hopefully you can start to see now, as we're talking about maybe 10 glasses of water per day, how potentially you might drink 5 to 6 glasses of water per day, just straight water. That's equivalent to 2 to 3 water bottles. But the other 2 to 3 water bottles or so might be coming from your smoothie. They might be coming from a ginger tea. It might be coming from a green juice. It might be coming from a Pellegrino with fresh squeezed lime at night. So again, you can get it in different ways. What's the important thing? The important thing is that you're getting your water throughout the day. I front load my day with water because remember, I've gone 8 to 10 hours overnight without any water, which means my body's dehydrated. The first part of the day, which a lot of people have lost sight of, a lot of great well-meaning practitioners as well, is that the first half of the day, up until about 10 a.m., 11 a.m., that's meant for a cleansing period. Your body just removed waste overnight. So putting in a heavy, fatty breakfast, which again, we keep being told to do that. It's wrong. It's incorrect. It's unnatural. Our body's still going through a cleansing process. Study Chinese medicine. Study Ayurvedic medicine. Study any Eastern-based medicine. You will see from the beginning of time, we cleanse our bodies for the first part of the day. That's why people get a lot of benefit from fasting in the beginning of the day. But you don't have to fast. You could also just do bone broth. You could do a smoothie. You could do a green juice. You could do a water-based like oatmeal. You could do any of those things that's still cleansing as well. It's very light on your system. So what I'm essentially saying is this. We know that we need to get a lot of water into our body, but there are different ways to do that. If you're someone looking to lose weight that's very sensitive to fruit, well, you might only do 1 cup of berries, low glycemic wild blueberries in your smoothie, and you might put in some veggies in that smoothie as well. You might do a green juice with no fruit in it. You might do bone broth. You might do the ginger tea, the hibiscus tea that I spoke about. You may do a little bit when you're out. Again, you're not drinking alcohol because alcohol is essentially literally wasted calories, all sugar. So even though it's sugar alcohol, it's still sugar. So what you might look at is like, okay, well, maybe you do the soda water or the Pellegrino and a splash of cranberry and squeeze lime as well. Like, that's a nice thing. All I want you to do is start to think of different ways that you can become healthier and healthier on a daily basis. In the future, please do stay tuned. I'm actually going to recommend to you my favorite juice company that actually ships juices all throughout the United States. They're an amazing company. They ship me juice. I love their product. I met them at events, and I'm just waiting for them to get their logistics down pat a little bit more so that when I do recommend them, they're able to ship juices to you within a 24-hour time period. So you can get fresh juice really whenever you want it. They're an amazing company. They're doing great work. And honestly, the owner I love people who are super passionate about their work and they're deep into it. I love talking with them because they're just, again, so passionate, so into their work. So hopefully today's show helped. I don't want to discount the fact that the majority of the fluid that you should be drinking should just be fresh water. Absolutely. But there are other ways to get that water in besides soda, besides coffee, besides all these other things like that aren't good for you, the vitamin waters and all those things with all the dyes. I want you to get fresh, either the smoothies. I want you to get into the squeezing the lime in or the daily fruit and vegetable blend or the smoothies or any of these things in addition to your water that will keep you hydrated. It's going to boost your energy. It's going to help to rebalance the hormones. It's going to remove a lot of that toxic water weight. It's going to help to cleanse the entire body. You're going to feel so much better. Your skin's going to look more vibrant. I'm telling you right now, when you start to feel those effects, let us know. Join CabralSupportGroup.com. Completely free support group, just full of positive people. I would love to hear from you there. Once again, thank you for tuning into the Cabral Concept.
Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only two ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to StephenCabral.com/rainbarrel.